Good morning, Bruce.
Good morning, Donna.
It is a good morning, isn't it?
It is a great day to have a great day. That is for sure. That is for
Yes,
sure,
it
yeah.
is. I agree. I agree on this great day.
Yeah.
And we have a great song today. I'm
We
really
we
excited about it.
we seriously do. We are very excited about it, and no, we're not trying to resurrect Tony the Tiger for you this morning, because he's great too. But
I love it.
the song I'm very excited about is a song that I love, and I was just talking to Allison about this. We've been talking about it all morning. We've just been discussing the song, I think, ever since we thought
I
of
think
doing
it was a request from her, actually.
Oh my goodness. Well, then there you go.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
thank you, Allison, for the request. What's the song we're doing this morning?
Today we are doing Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin.
Boy, howdy.
Yeah, here we go, folks. There's a lady who's sure all that glitters is gold, and she's buying a stairway to heaven. When she gets there, she knows if the stores are all closed, with a word she can get what she came for, and she's buying a stairway to heaven. There's a sign on the wall, but she wants to be sure, 'cause she knows sometimes words have two meanings. In a tree by the brook, there's a songbird who sings. Sometimes all of our thoughts are misgiven. Oh, makes me wonder. There's a feeling I get when I look to the west, and my spirit is crying for leaving. In my thoughts I have seen rings of smoke through trees, and the voices of those who stand looking. Oh, it makes me wonder. Oh, really makes me wonder. And it's whispered that soon if we all call the tune, then the piper will lead us to reason, and a new day will dawn for those who stand long, and the forests will echo with laughter. If there's a bustle in your hedgerow, don't be alarmed now. It's just a spring clean for the May Queen. Yes, there are two paths you can go by, but in the long run, there's still time to change the road you're on. And it makes me wonder. Your head is humming and it won't go. In case you don't know, the piper's calling you to join him. Dear lady, can you hear the wind blow? And did you know your stairway lies on the whispering wind? As we wind down the road, our shadows taller than our soul, there walks a lady we all know, who shines white light and wants to show how everything still turns to gold. And if you listen very hard, the tune will come to you at last, when all are one, and one is all, to be a rock and not to roll. And she's buying a stairway to heaven.
Wow.
You know, I don't know that I really knew these lyrics, Bruce.
When you stop and read them and listen to them, and thank you, Donna, for that. Thank you so much, because you have a wonderful way of reading these lyrics. It brings these words off these pages that we're reading, and it not only brings the words off the pages, but it also helps it into our digestion in how we all hear it, I think, because I do believe that when we read these lyrics, there's a different sound to them than what we all listen to on the radio, on the radio, and the way that we listen to these songs. You know, they're beautiful poetry, they are beautiful lyrics, but it's really interesting that I agree with you. I have listened to this song and played it as many times as I can possibly think of, and I've heard new things in you reading this right now.
And everybody who's listening now on WQEE 99.1 FM is going to hear this song.
Yes, and it's that's the funniest thing that you mentioned that, because there's an actual lyric in here that I'm wondering if that is, I don't know if it's the tell-all, but I feel like that's like if I were a gambler and I saw this sign, I'd be like, okay, there's that thing that shows me what's going to happen next. And it didn't ever occur to me, but I really feel like these guys wrote this song talking about awakening.
Yes, I think so too, Bruce.
And they were speaking to this in very I almost want to say esoteric ways, and I don't want to grab too many labels. I couldn't help but feeling that when I listened to you read these lyrics, and I thought, oh my gosh, I've never thought of that before. How did I miss that? And I just it gave me that feeling when I got to there's a line in here. I gotta find it.
Well,
here.
let's start off with the lady who's sure all that glitters is gold, because she's buying a stairway to heaven.
Yes, that's quite a purchase.
When I first met that line, in other words, when that line first entered my reality, my thinking thoughts, I was like, that's ridiculous. You can't buy your way into heaven. Right?
Yes.
My literal mind took over. And I, like you said, as you listen through the entire song, I understand now that this lady is me.
Yes.
Because everything I look at glitters.
Yes.
I love glitter. Everybody knows that, if you want to get, make Donna happy, just throw some glitter in her path. Sparkles. But yes, there is that Midas touch.
Yes.
When you are connected to that source of love, of creation, of all that is.
Yes.
There is a beautiful, wonderful way life unfolds that seems that everything happens so beautifully for you. Like everything you touch turns to gold.
Yes, and everything glitters
yes.
as gold.
Yes.
And this is I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, I was going to say, so it's like she's already on her way to heaven.
Yeah.
Because it says here, when she gets there, she knows that if the doors are all closed, with the word, she can get what she came for.
No effort at all.
Yeah.
No effort at all. Yeah, she is. And truly, this is something that things glittering as gold, because we are all so hypnotized, if you will, by gold. When people see shiny gold, they're almost, as they would say, like a deer in headlights. And these things kind of take over our psyche. It takes over our mind and our whole body and soul as we stare at this glittery gold. And that's a wonderful example of all. And then on top of that, with a word, she can get what she came for. Everything started with the word, as is said. And so it's interesting to think of it that way.
In the beginning was the word.
Yes.
You're so right, Bruce.
And so
the word, what's your word? Let's see if our word is the same.
The beginning, what was my word?
It says with the word.
Oh,
do you know what my
yes,
word
yes.
is?
I don't.
I'm just wondering if it's your word. My word is love.
Oh my gosh. Well, when I was thinking about in the song, I thought, her word could be anything that they could possibly desire at that moment. But I agree with you. Yeah. Stepping away from this moment where we're looking at these lyrics, I would say the same exact thing. Yes.
Yeah.
And I think the only one that would compete with it is another word, but it isn't important to, think of like what would compete with another when you're thinking of love, because I don't think there is anything that competes with love.
No, I see love as the word,
Yes.
as the beginning,
Yeah, yeah.
as the creator, as, where we came from.
Yes.
We
No,
come,
that's
that energy,
and I think that's an exact reference here to the fact that this is a reference to being a co-creator.
yes.
Because then with a word, you can get whatever you want. Well, then you could say, I want a sunny day. I mean, that's more than one word, but, it just kind of gives you the opportunity to.
Oh, I see where you're going with that lyric, much deeper. In other words, when we are in heaven, okay, which is right here on earth,
Right here
is
on
my
earth.
belief.
Yes, yes.
When we're in heaven, we do create so beautifully and so magically
Yeah.
with our words.
With
words
yeah.
are wands. So yes, I do agree that also, can be, I'm creating.
Absolutely, yeah.
If I can't do it, I'll create it.
Yeah. And then it says, she's buying a stairway to heaven. And it's an interesting lyric to me because I think that in the sense that she's buying a stairway to heaven, I think that that's the mention that you were saying, the lady, she is actually the singer. The discussion that we were talking about, or excuse me, the discussion, but the idea that we were talking about these Led Zeppelin are having their own awakening, and I think so.
Yeah.
They're talking about themselves, and so she's buying a stairway to heaven. I believe that is the stairway to this feeling of enlightenment,
Yes.
and opening up those doors,
Yeah.
and
There's a sign on the wall, but she wants to be sure. Because sometimes words have two meanings.
Yes. Yeah. And the thing that I wonder about this is that, in that moment of being in this state of where you could be in like a dream state, on a journey in heaven, in another dimension, these things could be confusing.
Well, not only that, but I'm going back to, there is like, people talk about it's written on the wall.
Yes. Good.
You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Wow. Yeah.
In the
Yeah.
everybody talks that, it's so clear.
Yes.
It's written on the wall,
Yeah.
and I never really truly understood that either till this very moment, understanding that words can have many meanings, actually. The word love in itself is so enormous. I don't think people really realize the scope of what that word really is.
Absolutely. And it's fascinating about that with language in general. As you say, words are wands in the sense that words can have more than one meaning. And in the next line, in a tree by the brook, there's a songbird who sings, sometimes all of our thoughts are misgiven. So here we have the words that are two meanings, or can have two meanings, and sometimes our thoughts can have different meanings or are misgiven. And it makes me wonder, as he says.
Makes me wonder, yes. Because our thoughts, that is how we stumble on those steps to heaven, is by allowing those misgiven thoughts,
miscommunications,
to invade our energetic being.
Yes, to let the outside affect us within. And it makes me wonder, as they say. And then there's a feeling I get when I look to the west and my spirit is crying for leaving. And I think of a cliche right now, the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence.
Well, not only that, but for me, I see that, but I see it as the sun always sets in the west.
That's, oh my gosh.
Yes, and so when I look to the west, the day is ending. It's becoming night. My spirit is crying for leaving.
That's amazing.
In other words,
here we go.
Yeah, it's that death.
Yes.
The death and rebirth that we all experience on our awakening journey.
Yes. No, that's very, and in some ways they would call it, when they would do their like regressive things, they'd call it the other world.
Yeah.
let's see. In my thoughts, I have seen rings of smoke through the trees and the voices of those who stand looking. And what I love about that is this reference to spirits, smoke in the trees, voices of those who stand looking. I don't want to say some people might think of this as like the watchers or things like this, but I don't really want to think of it that way. To me, it's just
Well, it's also our ancestors.
our ancestors, and I was just thinking that our guides,
right.
like our guides from our past, our guides from our present, our guides from our future, all, you know, mystically foggy, smoky kind of image of almost like what people would think of when they think of King Arthur and the Lady of the Lake and the mist, you know?
Yes.
And so I feel
yes.
like there's this, you know, beautiful reference to that kind of a feeling where it's magical.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why I think, you know, and he says, oh,
well,
it makes
rings of smoke. I mean,
yes. Yes.
those are magical in themselves.
Oh my gosh. And
through the trees that are all so connected
Yes.
with their root system to one another. And it is my truth that, yes, all of our ancestry is there
Yes.
in those trees
Yes.
because they come from the earth, which is where all these fleshly bodies go.
Oh my gosh.
when we drop
Yes.
them.
It's absolutely.
Yes, yes.
That's actually what what makes oil, if you really stop and think about the science of the production of petroleum. But it's also, that is true because there are rock formations, and they are only called rock formations, but my truth is they're actually giant trees. And they're rooted into the ground, and they actually have record in the geological history of the fact that trees actually grew deep, those roots deep into the earth, and that helped create the ground and the earth that we know.
Yeah.
Because the roots were going down and helping that soil stay in that place, helping those rocks stay in those places. So that's much to how some of the continents were helped formed.
And I'm sorry, I have to giggle because it's how the rocks don't roll.
Yes.
Which is another line
That
in
is
this song coming
yes.
up.
No, it's beautiful.
So yeah, it makes me wonder. Oh, really makes me
Yes.
wonder. I hope all of you are wondering with us right
hope so too,
now.
yeah.
This is so fascinating.
Because then it's whispered that soon, if we all call the tune, then the piper will lead us to reason. And I love that line because I never really thought of it as somebody who's experiencing an awakening, because especially right now, some of us are feeling that call and feeling that change in the energy, and feeling the change in the universe, and feeling the change in our atmosphere and in our world and in this field of existence. And
For me, that piper is love.
yes.
Because the tune, it's whispered, but right now it's being shouted is the beautiful thing. And the tune is the frequency.
Yes.
All music is frequency.
Yes.
And therefore, when the frequency is called in, then of course the piper's going to lead you to
Yes,
reason.
yes.
No more misgiven thoughts. You begin to see clearly, think clearly. Speak clearly.
It is, and it is the beautiful frequency that's coming straight from the source. And that is the
Right.
best part, that, you know, that's the piper. That's the part that I love about this. And then it says, and a new day will dawn for those who stand long.
And the forests will echo with laughter.
I'm so happy you read that, because I just could be, that's what I was hoping to see.
Because, I mean, the voices of those who stand looking, we saw them in
Yep.
rings of smoke through the trees.
Yes,
they are there.
Yes.
And they are saying, yes, yes, yes,
Yes.
and giggling because you got it.
You can
got
do it. You can
because
do it.
your new day has dawned.
Yes.
And everyone is watching. Everyone is happy.
Yes.
Everyone just shares that joy with you when you
Yes.
begin to turn things into gold.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. And if there's a bustle in your hedgerow, don't be alarmed now. It's just a spring clean for the May Queen.
Which is important because there could be something that comes up that you might have to deal with on the inner journey. And as you see things glittering with gold, you can transmute that and turn that into gold. And that's just a spring clean for the May Queen.
Yes.
You know,
and
it's
what
just...
I love about this is, of course, this is May.
Yes.
And there is a beautiful saying that has been around for quite a long time, and this helps me understand it.
Yes.
April showers bring May
my
flowers.
gosh. Yeah.
So yes, the May Queen is there. You begin to see the flowers and their beauty and
Yes.
feel like a queen.
Yes. And I love this. Yes, there are two paths you can go by, but in the long run, there's still time to change the road you are on. And it makes me wonder.
I love that.
Yes.
The fact that this is not a, what is it called? A specific point we're trying to get to in our lives.
Yeah.
It is a journey. The awakening is not the end.
No.
It's not, it's part of what happens when you begin to walk the stairway to heaven.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes, or some might call it the good red road. Some might call it
the red road.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
yes.
the journeys that we're taking to go on this path that's going to bring us. And some of you might hear, I've heard people say, sometimes I get this humming or this energy in my head. And they actually say it in that next line. Your head is humming,
right.
and it won't go. In case you don't know, the piper's calling you to join him. And, dear lady, can you hear the wind blow? And did you know your stairway lies on the whispering wind, which in some really feel that connection with the wind and how it is speaking to us. And that's where I feel like that connection is too, is this is so deep.
It is. And I believe when you began climbing those stairs, when you began to open your eyes and open your ears, yes, you can see those ancestors in the trees. You can hear their voices in the wind. You can feel their tears and blessings and cleansing in the water.
Yes.
And you can really, see it in the earth and the flowers and everything, the elements.
Yes.
You began to become part with them, one with them.
Absolutely, past,
One
present, and future,
with
all
them.
one. Yes, and
As we wind
yes.
on down the road, I love that.
Yes.
Because the road is never straight.
No.
Never straight. There are always obstacles, always changes, always beautiful things coming up. And it's always a matter of perspective.
It is.
How do you choose to see it?
Because, yes, and because the next line, that's such a beautiful thing to say, because then it says, our shadows taller than our soul. And it keeps going because it's reassuring. It's saying, hey, wait a minute. Just because we said our shadows are pretty big here, taller than our soul, there walks a lady we all know.
Who shines white light and wants to show how everything still turns to gold. I love that.
Oh, yes. It's like I'm like bursting with like childish energy
It's
here
like
with you.
Our shadows taller than our soul. When we get in those dark despair places, grief, sorrow, anxiety, fear, anger, whatever it is, we feel like that's all there is.
Yes, that our soul is now so small and that shadow is so large, and it couldn't be less true because
Look for that lady.
Yeah, we are right there. We are walking right there, and we know ourselves, really. We shine that white light, and we can show that everything can be transmuted and turned
to gold.
to gold. Yeah.
I do believe that is the beauty of awakening and what is happening here, now, on this planet. Alchemy.
Yes.
Alchemy.
Yes.
Yes. Everyone is going through this process of shedding and finding gold.
Yes.
And you know how they're doing it? By listening
Very hard. Yes.
And if you listen very hard, the tune will come to you at last. That, to me, that is another way of saying go within.
Yes.
In other words, stop, looking outside of yourself and, trying to find the answer outside.
Yes. The outside thing that makes
quiet,
you. Yeah.
Be still and listen to that small voice within.
Absolutely.
Going within. And the tune will come
to you at last.
Yes. And when all are one and one is all.
Yes.
To be a rock and not to roll.
I love that, because that means you're going to be eternally in a place, existing and being so within yourself. And I love that, because we did a song on one of our shows in the past where one of the lyrics is, the body talks and meditation helps. And
yes.
I truly believe that, because our body is an incredibly well-informed creation, and our soul has so much to say.
Yeah.
And we just need to take a minute to listen.
Mm-hmm. And I love when all are one, and one is all.
Yeah.
Because that is what happens when you start climbing the
Yes.
stairway to heaven.
Yes.
Is you do realize the connectedness of all.
Yes.
And I mean all, the rocks, the trees,
The interconnectedness,
the wind,
yes.
the water, the earth, the animals, the plants.
Yes. I truly believe
Human
that was, yeah.
to human.
Human to human.
We are all connected.
Earth,
we all
air, fire,
come
yes.
from that one source.
Yes.
That one God, goddess, creator, love,
Yes.
whatever you choose to call that energy,
Yes.
that
Yes.
frequency.
Yes.
And for me to be a rock and not to roll is what happens when you get to that point of
Yes.
realization
Yes.
that we're all one, because then you become one with all and you are a rock.
Yes.
And remember, a rock, I mean, that's what they call Jesus, the rock. And,
Yeah.
in other words, you're so strong and solid in who you are that you're not going to roll.
Nope.
No one's going to budge you.
Nope. Yeah.
You're going to be able to be authentically you.
And weather any storm.
Right. And that's how you buy a stairway to heaven.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
She's buying a stairway to heaven.
Yes.
So let's all do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a beautiful day.
Yes.
So remember, you all can send in your requests to
lyricalwisdomshow@gmail.com. That's lyricalwisdomshow@gmail.com. And I believe we can also send it into 99classicrock@gmail.com. That's 99classicrock@gmail.com.
Thank you all so much for being here now.